Your brain is the most complex organ in your body. It is composed of a ton of different kinds of cells that send all sorts of chemicals and electricity to one another. Our brains are the most complex things that exist. The number of connections in the brain is more than all of the stars in the entire universe. Your brain controls how you think and feel. All of our emotions and ability to understand what happens around us comes from the brain. The brain works by taking all of this information in, figuring out what to do with it, and then sends signals to our bodies to make them work in certain ways. Like if you feel pain, your body automatically moves away from it. The brain also controls how we feel, our emotions. We have all sorts of emotions. We can go from feeling angry to sad to super happy, depending on how our brains function and bring in information. The brain itself has lots of different areas that work together to make our emotions. Some of the more central parts of the brain control our more basic responses, like hunger and fear. The outer parts of the brain control more complex things, like how we might feel about ourselves and others. Your brain grows with you throughout your childhood, adolescence, and even into your adulthood. In fact, your brain keeps changing throughout your entire life. How it grows and develops actually controls how well your brain functions and how well you feel. If bad things happen to you, your brain might not grow well in a certain way. This happens because the brain creates chemicals based on how you feel. If your brain is working well, the right amounts of chemicals are produced. If your brain isn't working well, these chemicals can be imbalanced. There are lots of chemicals produced by the brain. Some of the major ones are things like serotonin, which controls how happy or anxious you feel. Dopamine controls how excited we can be and how great we feel when things are going well. Noradrenaline controls how scared or angry we get. GABA helps settle out our brains. In the right combinations, these chemicals can make us feel happy and like things are going to be great. In the wrong combination, they can make us feel depressed and even cause us to hear or see things that aren't really there. As your brain grows, the way in which these chemicals affect how you feel also changes. Sometimes the balance between chemicals can change so that you end up feeling more sad or depressed, especially if the brain doesn't create enough happy chemicals. If you've had to go through a lot of tough times, like getting arrested, or people doing a lot of bad things to you, your brain might stop producing a lot of happy chemicals, which makes you stay sad. If the balance is off, you might be prone to getting angry, irritable, and even get yourself into more trouble. If your brain is exposed to drugs like marijuana or ecstasy, the balance of chemicals goes way off, and it can take your brain a lot of time to get back to creating the right balance of chemicals. Sometimes it doesn't go back. When the brain isn't making the right balance of chemicals, we can use different ways to make it work better. The best way to do this is to start to change the way you think about things, and this usually happens with the help of someone like a counselor or a mentor. We sometimes also use medications to help out with this, but typically we only add in the medications along with the other things, like talking to someone. Your brain has a lot of potential to grow. Making sure you get it to have the right balance helps to make sure your emotions stay positive. It takes a lot of work to do this, just like it takes a lot of work to get good at anything, like lifting weights or playing a sport. Making sure there aren't things that hurt your brain is really, really important. Surrounding yourself with supportive people and reducing the amount of bad things, or what we call trauma, helps your brain stay balanced. Getting to know how your brain works and how this balance of chemicals can become imbalanced is important to making sure you feel great and you do well.